Good morning, Year 5. Welcome to your next virtual math lesson. Mr. Mills here again. Hope you all had a really nice Easter and had a bit of time with your families. This week, as was last half term, we're going to have daily math lessons, this being the first for this half term, and I'll also be posting work to go with these on the website and on Twitter, emailing your answers. The last lesson, half term, looked at adding fractions together where the denominators are different. Today we're going to go on to adding 3 fractions. In Year 5, you need to be able to add 3 different fractions together where the denominators are different to give us an answer at the end. Today we're going to practice that, take on the last lesson a little bit further. So we've got 1/8, add 1/2, add 1/4 here. I'm going to use a bar model. You will have a bar model on your questions. I'm going to give you in a bit to represent the answer as well as our workings out. So you can actually see what the answer looks like and you can actually understand the process, hopefully, on a bar model. We're going to just use a 1 bar today. So these are my 3 fractions that I'm going to add together. Because this denominator, the denominator of 2 and the denominator of 4, both are factors of this denominator, I can use a bar of 8 to represent this. Because I can times 2 by something to get to 8, I can represent it on this bar model, which I'll show you in a second, and I can times 4 by something to get to 8, which I can also show on this bar model. To find the equivalent fractions, we're going to represent that underneath. I've just said we can use 8 as my common denominator because I can times my other 2 denominators by something to give me 8 in this instance. What do I times 8 by to get to 8? I just times it by 1, so it remains the same. 1 times 1 will give me my numerator of 1. 2 times something gives me 8. 2 times 4 gives me 8. 1 times 4 gives me 4. And 4 times 2 gives me 8. 1 times 2 gives me 2. So I've got my 3 fractions here. Let's represent these on the bar model. Okay, because it's a bar of 8, I can represent this fraction, I can represent that fraction, I can represent that fraction. So my 1/8, nice and straightforward. That fraction didn't stay, that fraction didn't change, it stayed the same. My second fraction, my 1/2. 1/2 is the same as 4/8. So I can shade in 4 of my sections. And finally, 1/4 is the same as 2/8, so I can shade in 2/8 like so. Without me even doing that on the bar model there, you will hopefully have spotted these are all the same denominator, so all I have to do here is add the numerators together. 4 add 2 is 6, add my 1, which is 7/8. So my bar model is shaded in. It's got 7 of my 8 shaded, so it represents 7/8. And my 3 equivalent fractions added together give me 7/8 also. So this is the answer represented pictorially. This is the answer represented using the common denominator method. Both are fine, both work equally as well. Today you're going to start with some of these, then you'll be going on to some of these, finding the common denominators. Just one more example I want to show you before I set you the work I mentioned at the beginning. We're going to have a look at a second example. So let's have a look at 1/2 again. We'll have a look at 1/4 again. But this time, my third fraction, I'm going to make it, I'll make it a 1/6. Now, we have a problem, which makes this a little bit more complex than the last question. I can't use 6 as my bar anymore. I can't use 6 as my bar to represent my answer pictorially because I I can't times 4 by something to get to 6. 4 isn't a factor of 6, so I can't just draw myself a bar of 6 and represent my equivalent fractions on there, because I can't do that. I could do it with the half, because 3/6 is the same as 1/2, so I could do it with this fraction, but I can't do it with that one. Now, some of you straight away might have spotted, well, actually, I know that my common denominator here is 12, because I can times something by 2 to get to 12, I can times something by 4 to get to 12, and I can times something by 6 to get to 12. And if you've spotted that, brilliant. If you didn't spot that straight away, that's not a problem. What I would suggest that you do is that you write out the multiples of each of your denominators. So write all your multiples of 2, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Write out your multiples of your second fraction, 4, 8, 12, 16, and so on. Just write the first 3 or 4, and the same for the last fraction. Once you've written your list of 3 factors out, keep going until you spot a number that appears in all 3 lists. The first number that you'll come across when you do that is 12, because it appears in the 2 times table, it appears in the 4 times table, it appears in the 6 times table. So this time I'm going to be using a bar of 12 to represent my fractions. But how on earth do I represent a quarter of that on here? How do I represent a 1/6 of that on here? Well, we're going to use a common denominator method again. All right, so stick with it. Same method. How do I times? What do I times 2 by to get to 12? I times it by 6. So what do I represent? So then I can represent that on my bar model by doing 1 times 6, which is 6. My second fraction. Again, I'm making it over 12. 4 times what gives me 12? 4 times 3 gives me 12. That's supposed to be 3. 1 times 3 would give me 3. And finally, what do I times 6 by to get 12? Times it by 2. 1 times 2 gives me 2. I now can represent these 3 fractions on my bar of 12, 6 of my 12s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I represent 3 of my 12s. 1, 2, 3. And then I can represent 2 of my 12s. 1, 2. If I then write my answer here, 6 add 3 is 9. Add my 2 would give me 11 twelfths. Have I shaded in 11 of my 12? Yes, I have. So again, I've got it pictorially, and I've got it using the common denominator method. Both methods work equally as well. Sometimes you'll get the bars like you will with your first few questions this morning. Sometimes you won't. So it's just good to know the difference of 2. Hopefully you're feeling quite okay with this now, because it's similar to how we were doing it before half term, looking at the common denominators. So find the work I've attached on Twitter or on the website to go with this lesson. Email in your answers, and let's see how you get on. Good luck, and I'll see you.